Good afternoon, everybody. I'll just wait a couple of minutes before I get started, just to see if anyone will join. I just want to apologise first for any extra noise in the background. Obviously, it's the school holidays, so the Beans are home today. So I do apologise for the excitable noise. I will try to keep up with comments and anything as I am crafting. It's looking at all the screens sometimes, keeping up with everything. I hope everyone is staying dry. Hi Vanessa. Here in the UK it is really wet and miserable. It's not too bad at the minute here, but yesterday was a complete washout, so the boys were happy that they could get out and see the chickens this morning. It wasn't actually too bad, but it looks like rain will come at any minute. Okay, so I will get started because you can always watch this on replay. I will save the video here on Facebook. I will also post it to our YouTube channel, and I will share links across the blogs and social media, so if you miss this live. So today on the blog for our July-August release, we are introducing a new stencil. This stencil is called Ink and Flip ChristmasStar. So looking at the stencil, it doesn't actually look like much at all. It's just a few random angled rectangle type shapes, but the concept of this stencil is that you ink it once and then clean over your stencil, and then you literally flip it again, ink again, and it will create a beautiful star effect. So this was the first card I shared on the blog today. As you know, I love colour, I love rainbows, so I had to give a rainbow card a try out. So this took a little bit of thinking, so I had all my rainbow colours set up, and I inked the red, the yellow, the light green and the blue, cleaned off my stencil and then flipped it over, and then I did the orange, the really light sort of greeny yellow, turquoise, and then purple to create the star effect. And then I've used the sentiment from Reach for the Stars: when it rains, look for rainbows; when it's dark, look for stars, because I thought that was really appropriate. And then I had a little bit of an experiment for my second card that I've shared on the blog today. I wanted to see how it would turn out if I inked my card starting at a 45-degree angle. So I always work on this grid paper. I find it really useful and helpful. And if you have a close look at my stencil, you might see that I've actually marked the centre from this corner to this corner. I've actually marked where the centre is using a Sharpie, just so I can line up with these centre marks on my grid paper. If you have a old new stamp wheel, for example, or something along them lines, that would be really useful as well. Just see who's Any comments? No. So what I did was, so I started on the 45-degree angle, but then I had my stencil lined up with this grid, and I started with a light aqua, did all four, cleaned it off, then I flipped and I did the light aqua again, and then I cleaned it off again, and then I moved my card back to how I would normally start off, and then repeated the process but with a darker shade of aqua. And if you see, it's created an almost sort of kaleidoscope effect where obviously my card stock is a little bit smaller, so it was only 12 by 12, and some of the edges you can see were more angled, so it's just created a fun effect. Now I wished when I did this, after I finished this, that I'd done each of the flips and inking in 4 shades of aqua, and I think you would have got a slightly different effect. So if we have time today, I don't want to be too long, I will give this a go and maybe use a different size cardstock as well other than square to show you how it might turn out. It's a bit of an experiment, and I think with fun stencils that are interactive, there's obviously, this one just creates a star, so it won't create anything other than a star. So sometimes it's looking at the concept and just seeing how you can adapt it using different techniques, different inks, adding paste, adding glitters, maybe even doing it on a mixed media project to give a completely different result as well. So I'm sure there are lots of ways that you can come up with and use this stencil. So to start off with, I've got this 12 by 12 white piece of cardstock, and I am just going to centerize it on my paper here. Just check. Down one, and just secure it in place. Then I am literally just lining up my stencil little marks that I've created that I mentioned before, and I'm just going to secure it in place with some low tack tape, and I will show you how I created the rainbow effect. So you just need to skip one colour basically. So I'm going to start with red, and I'm using these new inks from Ultinew, which are the Amy Tangerine. It saves thinking about what reds and colours to pair up when you are doing a rainbow, because she's done a set of colours. Now I'm going to ink quite fast, so I'm doing it fairly heavy here, holding on to the head of my brush. If I want to start lighter, I usually hold at the end and just go in light, but I'm wanting some bright colours on this dull day. I can just hear the rain has just started lightly. It's not too bad at the minute. So I've started with the red there. Now I'm going to skip the orange and go to the yellow. Obviously you could do it any way you like and experiment and play with colours, but as I'm doing a rainbow and basically recreating the card that I shared at the beginning, I'll show you the process I took to do this card. So has anyone been up to anything nice? We're almost at the end of the second week of the summer holidays here. We haven't done a huge amount. The boys are quite happy gaming. We've Obviously got our chickens, Bonkers, Zonk, Cluck and Daphne. So they are keeping the boys wonderfully entertained, which is good fun. I've actually had a cuddle with a couple of them, which I never thought I would. Actually, I'm going to go for the turquoise instead of the blue. Come back to that one. Hi Nikki, good afternoon. Oh Vanessa, you're just about to finish your school holidays. I wish we'd had ours a little bit earlier. The weather might have been a bit nicer than it is currently. I have to say it's been a long time since we've had the amount of rain that we've had recently. It's quite miserable to be honest. I've been a bit fed up with it, but all this new crafty goodness is keeping me entertained. So I decided to do the turquoise here, and then I'm going to go to the purple. It's nice to have a relaxed schedule that we don't have to be up and out of the door, but then sometimes it gets a little bit boring and mundane. Oh, I was going to do purple, wasn't I? But I've done pink. I'll do pink and then I'll do purple on the next one. It's me talking. This is purpley pink anyway, really. I think this brush is seen better days. I should really give them some love and some cleaning, but I don't tend to be that organised. So there, I've done the first 4, and then I'm just going to lift it up to reveal. Now even that itself creates a fun focal point that you could add a sentiment. I'm sure if you had the stamp wheel or something similar that you could rotate your cardstock slightly, so you could rotate it sort of, I think it's on 8ths, the stamp wheel, and then if you did it again you could line it up and then you'd get a different point star to what is achieved just by flipping the stencil. Anyway, I'm sure there'll be lots of playing with this stencil once it goes live on Sunday and people start receiving their orders. A bit mixed on whether wet days are crafty days, definitely. Yes, the rainbows always brighten my day for sure. So here I'm just off to the side, I'm just cleaning my stencil with a stamp chamois. It's not super wet, it's just damp, so I can clean it and my stencil won't be too wet. But I also have some kitchen towel. Nikki's been sorting her craft room out and she's going to send the sunshine my way. Thank you, Nikki. I could definitely do with some sunshine. It tried a little about an hour ago, but it wasn't quite good enough. So to test, you're going to literally, I've cleaned it off and I'm going to literally flip it over like this. And I can just about see the marks I made on my stencil to line it up in the middle. And again, I'm just going to use my tape just to tape it in place. And then I'm going to go back in with the other colours. So the design team have worked their magic with this stencil. Steph has done a beautiful design where she just inked it once and then she stamped inside with one of the background blocks, and then added some of the sort of coordinating flowers from the doodle flower set which matched the block she used. So I'm just going in with orange here, again going quite heavy, and obviously depending on the type of inks you use will depend on the blend you get. If you use your distress oxides or your distress inks, they are going to blend and mix a little bit easier, and then you could add water splatters and all sorts. I think when it comes to creating, it is just experimenting and letting your creativity run, really. I just thought this was something fun and different, and I just wanted something different from sort of the mod background builders that I've done before. As much as I do love that concept, I'm always looking for something new and innovative, and it's often hard because there's so many wonderful companies and designers out there now all doing the same thing, trying to come up with something fabulous and new. So I've done the orange there, and now I'm going to do the green here and slowly build this rainbow up. So this afternoon, I'm not sure what we're up to this afternoon. The boys are currently gaming. They keep flipping from game to game. They are also learning game code. They're using a platform called Scratch that they learn at school, and then they had a taster session at a coding club the weekend before we broke up for the holidays. So they've currently been watching lots of YouTube videos and learning different things to do in this coding app. It's way above my head. They keep talking to me about it, but it's far too complicated for my knowledge, to be honest. Oh, thank you, Nikki. I'm glad it's going on your list. So we've just switched. I've switched manufacturer as well for my stencils, so they have brand new packaging as well. I'll see if I have one to hand at the end. If not, you will see it packaged on release day. I will share. I will be going live again on release day. I think I've put down about 7 p.m. It's on Sunday. So I will be sneaking off up here again into the studio to share all the newness with you and go through some of the cards that I've made. I'm finding I attempted to try and do a video the other day, but it just didn't feel right. I'm finding that if I go live, I feel a lot more natural, and obviously I can interact with people. So yeah, I will plan to do another live on Sunday, and then hopefully next week, because I still want to show you how I achieved some of the looks using the plaid stencils from the Uniko exclusive collection with Craft Stash. That's still on my list to come in and share some tricks and tips with them. So I'm going in with the last colour, which is purple, and then I will reveal the star to you. How are we doing? I don't know what we're doing time wise at the minute, but I will I won't keep you too much longer, and I had best go and see to them before they come in demanding more food. Though they did have a late breakfast today, because they did get up a bit later because they're going to bed later, which means I'm going to bed even later and being super tired. It's just the no routine, having to be up for school. So there we go, that's the last colour done. And we can reveal the star. Now you could use so many different sentiments in this. It could be a birthday card, a congratulations card, anything really. I just think it's really good fun and quite a fun concept. I have got another design all ready to go, which hopefully I will release around October time, another Christmas design, and hopefully I will come up with something else in the meantime as well. So that is the Ink and Flip Stencil. Now, oh, thank you Vanessa, I'm glad you love it. Oh, I know they usually want to craft with me, Nikki, but it gets a bit chaotic at times. So maybe when, if and when we get our new loft conversion and studio, I'll have a bit more space to let them craft with me. I don't know if you can hear them running up and down the stairs. One's downstairs in the gaming room and one's in his bedroom, so there's usually, if they're not wearing the headphones, it's very noisy. So before I go, do you want me to do this experiment with the other shaped card and 4 colours to achieve this effect, or shall I do it and share it at a later time? Let me know if you want me to stick around, or if I've been here long enough and you're fed up with me. So I'm just cleaning the stencil off again and wiping it down with some kitchen towel just so it's dry. Oh, there's the time. I've been 22 minutes. Right, I will stick around a little bit longer. And I'm going to use this peachy coloured card. Now, to help me out a little bit, because I'm using a different shape, I am going to just lightly draw a pencil line on here. And because it's an unusual shape, it's a rectangle rather than a square, I'm going to draw it on both sides, just because there's a possibility I might have to rotate it a little bit more. As I say, this is a bit of an experiment. So I'm going to use my tape. It's just the removable stick it tape, and I am going to just line it up here. I'm trying to eyeball the middle. Could use my ruler there and just move it down slightly. So that's a little bit more centered. So I'm going to, again, I'm going to line up my stencil so it is on the lines and centered. Obviously you can do it off center, that isn't a problem. I think when I was practicing I didn't get it quite centered up properly, and the star was just off center a bit, so it gives it a little bit of a different look. I'm glad you're happy for me to share now, Nikki. I promise I'll try not to be an hour like I was last time in my last live, but it adds some entertainment to my day for sure. So I am just covering up these little bits here where the cardstock overhangs slightly. And then I'm going to go in with some pinks. I've got some alt new pinks lined up, ready to go. I can't remember the name of the collection. I will tag it in at some point. So I'm just going to start off with the light shade, and just because I'm using a coloured card base, I might have to go in quite dark for this lighter shade to pick up. I was looking for a little bit sort of more of a pinky card, but this is what I found in my bit box, so I thought I would use up some of my spare pieces that are forever floating around. I'm so lazy, I suppose is the word, that I'm constantly reaching for fresh cardstock and breaking into new A4 sheets rather than looking to see what I can use up. So today I was a good girl and I looked in my box to see what I could use up first. And there was this peachy colour. It's not quite a cream, it's not quite a peach, it's sort of in between. So I'm just going in quite heavy just to apply this first layer. Now this time I am going to use all 4 shades of ink and see how it turns out. Any sort of like pencil marks that you can still see at the end, if the ink hasn't covered them up, you can just go in lightly with a pencil eraser and erase them. I don't always like to add ink over pencil lines because sometimes when you try and rub them out it rubs some of the ink off, but it's all about having fun and experimenting, isn't it, at the end of the day when you're creating cards. I just find it so relaxing. Definitely it's not always easy if you're feeling stressed or fed up or whatever to get going with creating, but I think it's just a case of get going, and then once you get going you get into the flow of it. So now I'm just gonna have to remove all my tape, but at least it's reusable, and I'm gonna lightly clean my stencil. I mean, it was quite a light ink, so it probably wouldn't affect my coloured card base too much, but I've just got into the habit of cleaning it in between layers. I'm not usually this organised with the kitchen roll to wipe it off, but I was a good girl today instead of wiping it on my jeans. When blending the colours like you are, is there a right or wrong way in terms of starting with lighter or darker colours? I personally start with lighter colours, just because starting light and building up to your dark, you're going to get an even tone blend where the colours overlap. Obviously rainbow, that they should blend when you go in the colours of the rainbow. Another trick, if you're wanting to mix different colours but not sure, there's a colour wheel, and there's a trick of using complementary colours to achieve a nice blended look. But yeah, when I'm using 4 colours like this, for example, I will always start at the light colour and then work towards the dark colour. I guess it's just been practice over the years and watching other people. Hopefully we'll see how the colours blend as I build up. So I've literally just flipped my stencil over and going in with the next shade. These Uniko inks come in this ombre shade of 4, collection of 4, which takes the thinking out of finding colours that will like build up from light to dark. It's always sometimes a little bit hard finding colours if you don't have, some brands don't have like a huge variety to start off with, you know, if they're only just started to launch their own colours. But I have quite a few of these Quattro ones from Uniko, and it definitely helps take the thinking out. Plus, because they are in shades of 4, and then if you had shades of pink, green, yellows, blues, turquoises, etc., you could then from each set choose the lightest colour from each set or the darkest colour from each set, and they should complement each other quite nicely as well. I think the price might have gone up slightly or changed, and I know they have changed their ink covers slightly since I bought these ones, but they were around sort of like $12.99, which isn't too bad of a price. And with a lot of my stuff, it takes me a while to build up my collection of things. I'm glad it's helpful, Nikki. I like to share tips now and then. So, you know, I've been doing card making for a number of years, and I have my favourite things, but I always like to try new stuff and new inks and new colours that come out. I have to say Concord and Ninth are one of my current favourites for stamping in colour. But I've built up my collection of supplies and essentials over a number of years. I mean, gosh, so Uniko started in 2012, but I was proper crafting and card making for a good sort of 4 or 5 years before that. I know I did it as a teenager with my mum growing up. A lot of the supplies were hers, and then we used to share. But things have changed, and techniques and, you know, supplies are a lot that were only available in America are a lot easier to get hold of now. Oh, hi Tara. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you think it's fun. I'm just doing a little experiment here on a different size card, well, on your sort of standard size card really. Creates this sort of kaleidoscope effect. So now I've done 2 layers. I've done the ink and flip on this angle. I'm now going to straighten up my cardstock to how it would be if I was inking normally. So my cardstock is 14 by 10.5, so I'm just gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, that's correct. And I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a little bit maybe over a tad. And I've just got the removable adhesive on and I've stuck it down. So now I'm going to go back and line up my stencil with my grid paper again, with the little marks that I've marked the centre, and I'm going to go back in with the middle shade. I mean, I always come up with these fantabulous ideas, and I have so many card ideas. It's literally usually time, you know, to create samples and experiment that hinders me a little bit, I suppose. So I'm going in with my third colour. And hopefully you'll see the effect that where these colours overlapped, and it creates this sort of kaleidoscope effect. It's coming out. I put a jumper on today because it didn't feel that warm, but the temperature is warming it up a little bit this morning. It's 19 now, it's saying. So I just hope the rain holds off. This afternoon we might get them out to burn off some energy. Never know. They want me to, the request at the minute is they're into baking, and I said cluck cakes instead of cupcakes the other day. So the boys want me to make cluck cakes and cluckies, which are cookies in the version of chicken form. Everything's about chickens at the minute. So these are our conversations that we have on a night before bedtime. So I'm going in. My inking isn't super even, but I don't want to be spending too long inking. Oh, thank you, Nikki, for sending the sunshine up. It's trying. I can see a few blue areas of blue skies in between the clouds, so surely with the amount of rain we had yesterday, there can't be much more left in the sky. It literally didn't stop all day, all night. It was just constant. So just going over, and I think I'm just about done with this layer. And then I am going to go in with the darkest layer. So I'll just take this off, and it's starting to reveal its form. I'm just going to wipe my stencil off. I mean, this is a bit of a pain, having to clean in between layers, and I did consider doing like 2 stencils, but then I thought it's just a waste really when you can achieve it in just 1 stencil just by cleaning it in between. Oh, I'm sorry it's gone black and grey again for you, Tara. I think it's been quite bad down your way, though. We still got a flood warning in effect, and I did see something on Facebook that one part of not far from us was flooded. So that's the bit I've just done, and I'm going to flip it over and use my little marks as a guide to centre it again. And then I'm going to go in and ink with the final darkest shade. Yeah, you could just buy 2, Tara, that would be even better. If you really didn't want to clean in between layers. It depends how lazy you are, or not lazy, impatient. Sometimes I can be an impatient crafter, especially I just want to get to the end result. I think that's why I like clean and simple, because it's usually, not always, a quick option. I think sometimes clean and simple can be just as long as mixed media. Especially if you're like me and you drop your ink or something and it lands on and creates a mark, and it's like, oh, there's no way of covering up or hiding it with anything. The amount of times I've done that over the years. And I've got frustrated and had to start again. My ink blending went a bit awry, disarray. Oh, my husband has just messaged me. He'll be wondering why I haven't responded. He's probably forgotten that I was going to go live today on Facebook. He fell asleep last night while we were watching TV. We were watching Hijack with Idris Elba. I think it was episode 7, and he was just asking me if that was the last episode, and I believe it was. And I have to say, he missed a really good episode as well. He woke up at the end, and I said, "Oh, you've just missed something really good." Never mind. I won't give anything away, but I have really enjoyed this mini series. Just need to find something else now to watch. If you've got any recommendations, just put it in the chat. If you're watching anything good. So, almost done. Let's see if this experiment looks any good, and if I need to go back and turn it on the other angle, which you could do. I think I probably would, because I don't think it's going to be even. So that's with having the cardstock one way. I can't remember which, if it was, I think I did it that way, didn't I? And then I've done it that way. So you could do it this way and line up with the middle, and then repeat the process, because then I think that would give more of a kaleidoscope effect and probably even up the star a little bit more. But there's definitely a lot of fun to be had with this new stencil, and I hope this has explained what it's about, what ink and flip means. So I hope you enjoy it as much as me. I lost my train of thought then because I was reading one of the comments. Heather says we're making our way through Young Sheldon at the moment. Oh, I haven't heard of that one. Oh, the pinks are pretty. I do love these shades, all new shades. So I won't bore you by repeating the process, but I am going to continue with this card, and I will finish and share the results later on Instagram and Facebook, and also get this video saved and uploaded to YouTube. So thank you for everyone who has popped in and watched and joined me this afternoon. I do appreciate it, as I do appreciate all the comments and everything over all the platforms this week. It does delight me to see that others enjoy what I design. So thank you very much. I wish you all a good Thursday. The boys keep coming in on a morning. What day is it today, Mummy? Because they can't remember, so I had to think there myself. So I will see you all soon. Have a good day. Bye.